Hey guys, it's Jen. Welcome back to my channel and aloha. I'm dressed a little more Hawaiian for our fancy today, but still wearing pearls. These were actually my grandmother's, and don't they go good with this dress? I think so too, thank you. So today we are going to do part 3 of our fancy fantasy Walt Disney World trip. I hope you've been planning along with me, and I'm really glad that you're here. Well, as you know, our elephant in the room is still with us, but that doesn't mean that we can't take a few minutes and travel to a galaxy far, far away, or just to Walt Disney World, which now has a galaxy far, far away. So see what I did there? It's a win-win. But for this time, I want you to have fun. I want you to dream along with me, and I want you to think about what that next Walt Disney World trip is going to look like for you and your family. Okay, so before I go any further, I would like to offer up to you guys a great way that you could support somebody who's doing a fantastic job of doing something when so many of us feel like we can't do anything. My good friend Brooke, who is Bibbidi Bobbidi Brooke, you guys have seen her in my videos. She and her husband Tommy have basically shut down production, not basically, they have shut down production of everything else that they normally make with their business, and they are just making masks that they are donating and shipping all over the country to people. If you would like to give money towards her materials costs and her shipping costs, here's how I want you to do it. If you go down in the description box and you go to the link that says you can buy me a cup of coffee, that money actually goes directly to my PayPal account. Now, normally I use that money to fund the expenses for the channel, but until this thing is over, I'm going to use that money to give directly to Tommy and Brooke so that they can ship the masks out, so that they can buy additional materials to make more masks, and just to kind of help cover all of the costs that they're incurring. The link is Ko-fi, Ko-fi. You'll see the link, press that, and I will make sure that all the money goes directly to Brooke and Tommy and the work that they're doing to make masks for people right now. So yeah, go down there and check it out. All right, so we've already done our accommodation planning, and that was episode 1. So go up here and watch that if you haven't already. And then last time we discussed my fantasy birthday dinner. And if you want to know where we decided to eat for my big birthday dinner, well, I'm going to have to give that one away because I'm going to talk about it in the rest of the planning. So never mind. California Grill is where I have chosen to eat for my big 50th birthday dinner. Now, just to remind you, this trip is July 14th through 18th. So, you know, it's time. We need to be making those dining reservations. And I spent probably, not kidding, 2 hours this morning, not only deciding where I wanted Scott and I to eat for this trip, also deciding how much is it going to cost, and is it possible that for this trip, the deluxe dining plan might actually make sense for us? Now, you guys know, I am not a fan of the dining plan. I almost always think you end up losing money, and what you're exchanging by way of flexibility, it just doesn't work for me. But I know a lot of you love the dining plan, and that is okay. But for this trip, I ran some numbers, and you might be surprised with what I come up with. So, all right, so where's my notebook? Hold on. All right, so let's get started with what decisions I made for where we were going to eat. You guys, you have no idea. Like the lists and the charts and the calculations that I did this morning. But can I just tell you, I had so much fun. I mentioned this on Instagram, but I'll mention it here as well. Scott was telling me about this article he read about prisoners of war, and that the ones that came out on the other side the most mentally well were the ones that had some kind of an intellectual occupation, something that during their time of imprisonment they could go to that was a dream or a plan. One guy built an entire house, like down to electrical and wiring and floor plans and where doors would go and windows would go and every minute detail. And when he came out the other side, he said that that was really what helped him survive. Well, I think that that is a great message for us now when we're all feeling helpless and a little trapped. And no, we're not prisoners of war, but we are feeling a lot of stress and anxiety. So for me, this Disney trip planning is kind of filling that need to keep my mind mentally engaged with something that isn't fretting and worrying. So I hope it's doing that for you too. Someone reached out on the Instagram post and said that they normally go to the Renaissance Fair every year, but it's being canceled. So the people that put that on are actually doing an entire virtual version of it, and everyone's in on the planning. And there is something about all of those details, about something that you know will happen when all of this is over, that's just super helpful right now. So anyway, I hope this is fun for you and that you're engaging with it as much as I am, because I had my AirPods in and I was listening to the Disney Parks Spotify station, and I was just in seventh heaven. And it was about an hour to 2 hours of just complete bliss of me doing something that had nothing to do with what's going on. And yeah, it's good for me. So hopefully this will be good for you too. Okay. So this trip is going to be a little different as far as dining is concerned, in that I'm not as concerned with park touring as I might typically be. Now, I'm not saying that I won't make FastPass Plus reservations, because I probably will, and I'll bring you guys along in that process as well. But it's really far more about the dining, the lounging, the just kind of soaking up some Disney atmosphere, maybe a boat ride, maybe just a much more grown-up, relaxed resort experience than, rope drop to fireworks type Disney trip. I like those kinds of trips too, but this is not going to be that kind of trip for several reasons. It's my choice, but also that's not really Scott's speed, and we really just want to have it feel like a really nice resort stay. So because we are staying at the Contemporary, that was one of the reasons why I chose the California Grill for my birthday dinner, because I want as much as possible to keep things in that monorail loop resort area, with a couple of exceptions. So I started thinking through all of the restaurants that I love. I really do want to have a big deal evening meal every night. So I came up with some choices, and I know a lot of you, your favorites are probably not going to be on here, but that's why you have your own notebook, right? Because you're planning this out. Remember that it's 4 nights, and I want to eat out every night of the 4 nights. And I also wanted to have a couple of breakfasts in there. So here's what we've got so far. For our arrival night, which we will get on that early flight. I think the earliest flight that comes in from Atlanta, well, maybe not the earliest, because I don't want to kill myself. So we'll probably maybe get in around 9 something. So we'll have that whole first day. So we'll be nice and rested. Maybe we'll have some pool time. Maybe we'll hop over to Magic Kingdom for a little while. That's probably where I will get my FastPass reservations for that first day. And I thought it would be nice that first night to eat at Narcoossee's. Now, Narcoossee's is predominantly seafood. They do have a couple of steak dishes as well. The atmosphere is gorgeous. It's right by the water. They're at the Grand Floridian. It's like, it's delightful without being too stuffy, if that makes sense. And it is a lovely, lovely restaurant. I've only had the opportunity to eat there once, so I'm really excited to try it again. So I've got a reservation there at 7:15. So what I did for each restaurant, and I'll tell you what the restaurants are, and then we'll go over the dining plan part of it. I actually mapped out, and this is what I tell you guys to do: what I would order, how much it would cost, and then I can figure out if the dining plan would work. What I have to do to make this make sense for me is I have to plan where I want to eat and what I want to eat first, and then do the dining plan calculations. Because if you go the other way, if you do the dining plan and then you try to justify the money you're spending, of course, you're always going to come out justifying it. But if you really go and think about what would I order, what do I want to eat, and then go from there, you may come up with a different answer. So to me, it works better if you start with, this is what I know I want to eat. And remember, I don't want to be losing any flexibility. I want to order exactly what I want and all of that. Okay, so tuck that away in your brain. So for arrival night, we're going to go to Narcoossee's. For our next night, which is the 15th, I was able to get a reservation at Topolino's. Now, someone corrected my pronunciation last time because I said Topolino's and not Topolino's. Let me just tell you, y'all call it whatever you want. It's the really nice restaurant at the top of the Riviera. With everything that's going on, I don't care how you pronounce it. I don't care how I pronounce it. But anyway, and if you want to call that other restaurant Toledo, you go right ahead. You're not going to get any criticism from me. So, Topolino's, and I also worked out exactly what I would order there, and we've never been there, and I've heard so many great things about it that I definitely want to try Topolino's. The next night, we will be at Hollywood Brown Derby. Now, this is one of my consistent favorite restaurants in all of Walt Disney World. I've eaten there so many times over the years. Yes, I have heard from some of you that you've had inconsistent service or not had a great meal. That has not been my experience, and it continues to be one of my favorite go-to places. So we will definitely be going to Hollywood Brown Derby. And then the last night, of course, is my birthday, and we are going to the California Grill. Now, I also made reservations on our second morning for the Wave for breakfast because I've not done that yet, and I've heard amazing things about their breakfast. And then on the morning of my birthday, I made reservations at Kona Cafe, which is one of my favorite breakfast spots on Disney property. So as you can see, we're only eating in a theme park for one dinner. And that will probably be the day that I will make fast passes for Hollywood Studios. So that will be like a late afternoon into the evening over there. So there will be no getting up at 5 a.m. to ride Rise of the Resistance, none of that nonsense. This is going to be a very chilled, relaxed trip. So that kind of definitely factored into how I made my dining reservations. All right, so let's move on to talking about the dining plan. Obviously, the regular dining plan would not work out. And the main reason I wouldn't want to do the regular dining plan is it does not include an appetizer. The only one that includes an appetizer with your meals is the deluxe dining plan. And then the other obvious reason is every place that I have chosen is a 2-table service restaurant. So, I mean, y'all, we went fancy with all of this. And by the way, I don't know how Scott's going to feel about doing like nice dining. I mean, he doesn't have to dress up. He kind of, unless he's a pilot. So when he goes to work, he wears a full uniform. When he's relaxed, he doesn't usually like to dress up that much, but really all of the places that we're eating, he would do okay with even like nicer golf shorts and a nice shirt. So I think he'll be okay. He'll live. We'll just figure it out as we go along. I'm not, maybe he needs to get some new clothes. I don't know. It's a fantasy trip. Maybe the husband of 30 years could step it up a little bit for my 50th. I'm just saying. And I don't know what I'm going to wear. I almost feel like we need to do a whole different video about what I'm going to wear. And by the way, I ordered a dress to wear for today, thinking it would get here in time, but it didn't. But it is a Disney, Shop Disney dress shop dress. So cute. It's the one with the halter and the parks attractions on it. So as soon as that comes in, I promise I'll wear it for a video. So hopefully we'll be here soon. I checked on it yesterday. It hadn't even shipped yet, which I totally get because the world is crazy right now. So I'm not complaining, but it will be fun if it comes in and I can do it in a video. Okay. So here's what makes dining plan or not dining plan a little bit tricky. I drink and Scott does not. So you have to take that out of the equation for one of us. So I did all of the math. I figured out exactly what, and I know this takes forever, but honestly, if you want to know if the dining plan is going to work for you, this is what you have to do. I went through and I wrote down exactly what I would get for an appetizer, exactly what I would get for an entree, exactly what I would get for dessert, what drink would I be most likely to have. Now, the desserts are kind of tricky because the truth is we probably wouldn't get dessert every night. We would get dessert some nights, but I'm just as likely, like if we went to Hollywood Brown Derby, I would be just as likely to, well, no, that's not true. No, I'm totally lying because at Hollywood Brown Derby, I would 100% get the grapefruit cake. So that's not a good example. But say at Narcoossee's, I might decide not to get dessert, but I'm for sure going to want to do an appetizer. So that makes the math a little bit tricky. The other thing is, we're eating so much food just with the reservations that I have that I would be very surprised if we were to use 2 snacks a day. We probably just wouldn't. We're not big snackers anyway. And I don't see us each getting 2 snacks a day. And also we normally wouldn't get a refillable mug because we're not big soda people. So normally we just, bring our reusable water bottles and do water. So there was a lot of reasons why I didn't think the math would work out. So when I figured it all out, what I would spend out of pocket for what we're doing, and then I added in a couple of counter service restaurants so that I used up all of the credits, would be $407. And the dining plan was going to be $476. I only did the math for one person. So it's kind of close. If you add in snacks and you might be able to break even. So I almost thought, gee, maybe we should consider doing it just because it would be kind of fun, right? To be on the deluxe dining plan and eat as much as we want and not even worry about it, and not look at prices, whatever. But here's the reason I'm still, and I haven't made my decision yet, so feel free to weigh in the comments below. I'm still not sure that I would do it because what if we get sick of eating? Like, what if I have reservations for, Hollywood Brown Derby is a great example. I could see us going, I don't want to eat another big meal tonight. I mean, I love it, but I just don't want to eat another big meal. So I might cancel that reservation. Well, if I have the dining plan, I got to eat somewhere. I'm still going to use the credit because that is one of the good things about the deluxe dining plan is you can use those credits for counter service or table service, but it would be kind of a waste to have bought the deluxe dining plan and then use even one of those credits for counter service. That just feels super dumb. And then I really am losing money. So what I have to decide is if the stress of that, because that would stress me out. I'm just telling y'all, that is my personality. That would make me like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we spent all this money and now we're not going to go out to eat. And more importantly, it would limit what I would choose to do, because the other thing is at a place like California Grill, remember when I read you the whole menu last time? A place like California Grill, I can't get the sushi. When I go to Narcoossee's, I can't get the enhancements, which is things like, Scott might like the Brussels sprouts. I mean, there are just things I can't do that, guess what? I would probably end up doing anyway, because it's girlfriend's fantasy birthday trip, so I'm not gonna limit myself. And then I end up paying for the dining plan plus paying out of pocket for these things that aren't covered on the dining plan. And that probably doesn't make any sense. So I'm not 100% convinced yet that I'm not doing the dining plan, but I'm thinking it doesn't make sense. If you have an idea that factors into that decision, I really do want to hear from you guys and see what you think. Okay, so now it's your turn. Where are you going to go for your 4 nights? Okay, what reservations do you need to make for your fantasy trip? Now, I actually made the reservations for 4, and then my birthday dinner I made for 6, because I honestly don't know yet who's coming on this trip. And I figured you can always go down, but it can be tricky to go up with number of people in a dining reservation. So I don't know. So it's exciting, right? Like, that's a lot of really good food. That's a lot of really celebrating my birthday. And it was so fun to do this morning. So do your stuff, do your math, come back and tell me, what did you come up with? Where are you eating? Do we need to do deluxe dining plan? I was kind of wishing they still had the platinum dining plan. Do y'all remember that? I was kind of in my brain thinking, maybe we could have done that. But, we have to live in the reality we're in for the fantasy trip. All right. So before I leave you, don't forget, if you want to donate money that will go directly to shipping costs and supplies for Brooke and Tommy as they are making those masks and shipping them out all over the United States, go down in the description box to where it says, buy Jen a cup of coffee. All the money that I receive from the time this video goes up until this madness is over, I am going to send over there to them. She and I talked for a long time this morning. They are working hours and hours and hours, their little fingers to the bone, and I don't know how to sew. So I was like, okay, this is what I can do to help you guys make sure that you don't lose money, right? And that you get everything you need so you have plenty of supplies so that you can ship these masks out to people that desperately need them. And I'm just really happy that I can do something to help. And so yeah, go ahead and go down there and do that. And don't forget all the non-monetary ways that you can support the channel. So you can subscribe, you can like this video, you can leave a comment, and if you like this video series, share it with someone you love. I hope you guys are doing great. I hope that your day today is peaceful and filled with joy. Be really, really good to each other, even your spouse and children who are driving you crazy. And most of all, just know how much I appreciate you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye-bye.